DJ'd pretty much all over the world over the last like 2-3 years. Been battering flights. I'm based in London.
I think back now, and the stuff we were doing in there in terms of like, oh god, the shuffling days and all this kind of stuff.
You're having the flashbacks right now. I can see it. I struggled with this because I knew the world of music, there is really dark elements to it. There's a really dark side and really corrupted, right?
Yeah.
My faith in God comes from, and if we're talking about this specifically, like, if I believe that this ecosystem has been designed, it's been designed by someone or something. You know what I mean?
Believe thing. What was it like meeting and dancing with Busta Rhymes? Just logged on one night and I was like, oh my god, Quincy, aka MASTAQUE, is like doing a jig and a jive with, with
it was
Busta
the
Rhymes.
most random night. When you're in a club and you have Burna Boy rapping "Pow," like you're doing something right, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're doing something right. So.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Sonderverse channel. Today I have my third guest, season 1, episode 3, Quincy Thomas, aka MASTAQUE.
What's happening, man?
How are you doing today? You good?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Sun's shining today, man. So
well, I appreciate you coming onto the show. You are actually the first quote unquote stranger, we'll say. Hopefully by not the end of this episode, but the first stranger that I'm speaking to. Obviously Rafe and Tom I know quite well, and through the idea of what this show is and the premise behind it, I'm going to get to meet lots of different people as we go on this journey from season to season, and I'm honored to have you as my first stranger guest in a sense. So
I'm happy to be here, bro.
Hey Carl, just want to say a big thank you for having me on your show. It was an honor to have just a really good natural chat with one of my close friends. I think that the concept is incredible and I think it can go to so many places. So I want to recommend someone who's an incredible person, a super talented DJ and creative, travels all over the world, meets some incredible people and have some really interesting, engaging stories to tell. So I'm going to invite my friend Quincy, aka MASTAQUE.
So, idea of the show is kind of exploring people's connections, their passions in life, their story, and we have this through line of how people are linked together. So love to learn about your journey, but through the words of people that you've met who have helped you, who've kind of had an impression on you or influenced you, etc. But yeah, we can talk about anything and everything, really open to that. And first of all, I'd like to hand it over to you. Tell us about yourself. Where are you based? What do you do? What is your story, really?
Yeah, man. So yeah, thank you for having me on the show. Very happy to be here, bro. And I'm Quincy Thomas. Some of the world calls me MASTAQUE. I'm a DJ, creative entrepreneur. And I've been DJing for the best part of 10 years now, and DJ'd pretty much all over the world over the last like 2-3 years. Been battering flights. I'm based in London.
Yeah.
And I've been here all my life, born, raised. Yeah, bro. And I'm just trying a thing. I swear. I just like making stuff and putting it out in the world. I love music. I love people.
Yeah.
And I love when, we're able to do things that bring all of these things together. So yeah, I think I'm turning 30 next year, and I can see how my role, or how I see my role in the world changing. Whereas before, about like going, exploring, seeing, and there's always going to be an element of that in it. But going, exploring, and seeing, sharing my talent is now, I can see, turning into more of being a curator of things and like facilitating and providing opportunities. So yeah, that's who I am. That's what I do. Nice. And
Interesting.
Life is all right, you know. It's
That's
all right.
good.
Yeah,
Looking at your Instagram and checking it out, you live a very interesting, I won't say hectic, but busy life.
it's busy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that you're bordering on to 30 because that was going to be my next question. Is like, I didn't want to be, how old are you, and ask that kind of
No.
controversial question. But so you've been DJing professionally for 10 years, is what you would say, or like, or because I've got friends that are also quote unquote DJs, and they kind of was doing it way before that, just for fun at
Yeah.
parties and all that kind of stuff. So, when did you actually start DJing, and was there a transition where you were doing it for fun first and then did it kind of more professional and getting paid for it?
I started DJing when I was 14.
Wow.
So I started DJing when I was 14, and I actually started like on a summer weekend. I spent at my cousin's house.
Yeah.
And obviously at 14, it's like a summer, it's a mixture of you're battering FIFA,
Yeah.
and then you're outside playing football, and you know what I mean? So my uncle was actually a DJ, or he still is, to be fair.
Yeah,
And he came back to my cousin's house one evening, and he put this software on my cousin's computer. And obviously, them times there, it's one computer. You're like one activity. There's three of you huddled around it, and we were just trying to figure out how to mix songs on this platform. It's called Virtual DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, we was battering it for like 2 hours, and then I figured it out. And in a way, that was it. From that point, I didn't really look back. So I figured out how to get it on my own laptop at home. And then from there, I just started practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody started to turn 16. So I started doing all my friends' sweet 16s. Started doing my cousin's sweet 16s. But these times there, I'm just using a bust down laptop. Yo. And then I using a bust down laptop. And obviously, I grew up in church as well. So my church, it's so mad when you look back at things, because it's like everything's so well timed. My church at the time was like, they got a whole new PA system. Yeah. So they had these like speakers that no one ever used, didn't it? So I was past them like, yo, can I grab these? And he was like, yeah, he's like, cool. Took them and I rode the wheels till they fell off on their speakers and laptop. Like that probably took me to about 18.
Yeah.
Where I was the go-to guy in my area for like anyone who was turning 16, anyone who's doing their 18th birthdays. Mm-hmm. And then eventually went to uni, did a bit of DJing there. It's always been a bit of an interesting one with me, because I love DJing, I love music. I always have. I originally played like instruments in church, so I actually started off playing drums, and then I taught myself how to play bass guitar and a little bit of keys. And then, DJing was the thing that kind of brought all of that together and gave me a way to play to a multitude of people. But in the background, I've always just loved like business and like the idea of like just buying and selling. Like, I've always like from when I was school. So I guess music or DJing was like the conduit between the two of them.
Yeah, right? It kind of coalesced into this. DJ is probably like the best suited thing for me right now. My passions, my interests, my skills, my talent, etc.
Literally, because it was a thing that was like, right, cool. I get to do stuff with music, but then someone's gonna pay me to do this. I was sold from them. Like I was in. So from that point, I was like, what did I say? I was like 16, and I was probably doing at that point, 2 gigs a month would be someone's birthday. Yeah. You get a little £100, £120, but you're working all the hours. Basically, I was doing like 6-7 hours for these gigs, but it's all practice hours, isn't it, really? But for me, it was amazing because it was like, like I'm getting paid for my talent, and that happened for me quite early. And then went to uni. All the while, I still had a part-time job as well. So I just love hustling. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Fair. Yeah. That is it's a little bit of the theme also between the two prior guests, Wraith and Thomas. I'd say Tom especially is a hustler himself also. Yeah, he's got his fingers in so many pies. Yeah, man. He's just so multifaceted. Wraith, he's starting to build like a run club community and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's just this age that we're getting to now, where you just get this spirit of wanting to do more. And there is that trial by fire period, isn't there, where you're kind of doing things, testing, figuring it out, really hooking onto what is the one thing that you want to pursue further on. And a bit like I am getting to the point now, and I think it's the idea of this show is I kind of noticed that I also somehow want to make a tangent slightly. And I heard like Tom also said he wants to make an ever so slight tangent, maybe potentially. And there is one true thing that he finds as a passion now. He's been doing it for so many years that if he could find a way to just latch onto that and do that for himself, you know, that's where he'd like to really excel in maybe the next decade, etc.
For sure.
When you were doing your DJing, and when you said you were doing it with your uncle, right? What was it that drew you to the music? Like, for example, I have had a go at DJing with some of my friends when we were at uni. So we had some decks, and I like music. I've got a very eclectic taste, I would say. Everything from, you know, classical all the way up to heavy metal, drum and bass, house, etc. And when I was doing it and just purely playing around on the decks, the thing I used to love was when you got the perfect alignment. Like when the stars align of two songs and then you drop the other song in, or you do something, you're like, even yourself, you get a little bit of a tingle. You're
The
like,
transition, man. There's
yeah,
buzz in that, bro.
it was slightly addicting. And watching my friends do mixes and put them on SoundCloud was also interesting because I'd watched them do it. Once I was listening to their SoundCloud, that kind of mix that they'd put up, and I knew when they'd done a drop or like done a transition that was sick. I know that they were buzzing behind the decks when they were doing it. They were having a great time. So is it music that attracts you? Is it that kind of that dopamine, serotonin kind of rush of getting things really good, seeing a crowd being lively? What really attracts you to being a DJ?
I think I've got to put a lot of that down to my family, like number one, because like everyone in my family are music heads, and I come from a huge family. So for me, growing up, I was surrounded by music. Like I played instruments in church. My dad he used to sing in a choir, as did my mum at the time. And then that was the natural. That was the situation for a lot of my cousins. So not only am I someone who plays drums in my family, I've got like 2-3 others, you know what I mean? And then a couple more that play instruments or sing. And then obviously I have my older cousins who obviously were going out way before us. So like family parties, they were DJing. I got this cousin called Eva. Like she was the first DJ that I really knew because every family party, she was the one by the CDs. And before her, it was her dad before that.
Yeah. So
there was always this like big, I always had like access to loads of music through loads of different family members, whether it was R&B or reggae or gospel. And so I loved basically then getting to a point of collecting music. Like I was one of these LimeWire kids who would like load albums, and like even at that time you could only have like, I don't know, 4 megabytes of music. I would swap in and swap out music that I listened to regularly, but I'll just keep compiling it. So in a way, by the time I was ready to start DJing, I already had a bit of a library because I've been compiling music anyways, which again is the perfect storm. So at that point now, based on what you were saying around like that thing of like transition, I think that's the thing that hooked me. And then the next layer is like when you then do a gig and you make a whole room move. Do you know what I mean? Like there's until this day, there's nothing like this. And like
a rush.
I've done some pretty big crowds, and it's to this day, there's nothing that can actually replicate that feeling. Because to do that, it's earned. Like you don't move a crowd by just turning up and playing a couple of songs. Like you need to know which songs to play, at what time to play, at what BPM to play them. And again, that perfect storm of like, right, cool, I've got these people in the palm of my hands, and they will trust me to go anywhere with me. Like if I wanted to, like I did a gig last week and it was an R&B party. And I played James Blunt, You're Beautiful, but I knew I could do it right? And
What kind of event was it?
it was an R&B party
Yeah.
called Steps, and funnily enough, it was actually a younger demographic.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I got them to a point where they were in the palm of my hand. So if I wanted to do this and create a moment, I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And the fact that when you do things like that, it's almost like trolling in a way. Like when you do things like that, but you know the rest of the crowd are gonna come with you, which they did.
Yeah.
Like it's the best feeling because now we're all in this space together. Like we're all locked in at one point, and it's not often you get to be in a situation where you almost have a conductor and all of you are in, like, I guess, synchronization together.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, being a DJ kind of gives you that ability. And then just to your other point around trying to find the thing that you want to then tangent off to and do.
Mm-hmm.
DJing is definitely that, because I've done multiple jobs, like like all the way through from 16 to, what was I, 24, 25. Like I worked at Burberry, I was an estate agent, I worked in creative, like a marketing studio, and that was the last job I ever worked. I worked for a creative studio where I was doing strategy and stuff for like big brands, because I was like the young, cool black guy in the room.
Yeah.
So I was able to like let them know, okay, this is, youth culture and this is which you can tap into. And then all the while, DJing was this like slow and steady thread in the background.
Mm-hmm.
COVID came and I was put on furlough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been accumulating all of this, like, I guess, equipment. I had a mixer, I had this mic, I had, again, headphones, everything, speakers. And I just started streaming on Instagram every Friday for like 4 or 5 hours at a time. And like people would actually just pull up, and it became like a place to hang out. And people would be in the like making song requests and stuff. And that then transitioned to me then having a radio show.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know this. Cool.
Yeah. That then had a radio show with Represent Radio, which was basically the biggest youth radio in London.
Yeah.
But they were like national radio, which was cool. I did that for like 2 years. And then all the while that then transitioned me into becoming a touring DJ, because, it's like we had the radio station and was able to connect with a bunch of people through that. And home actually gave me my first opportunity to go and DJ internationally. So again, it was like a perfect storm of like all these things coming together to then allow me to be at this point where, like we've gone everywhere. And I say we because it's me and my manager that basically have pulled a lot of this stuff off together. So
interesting. I've got so many questions and I don't know how many of them I should ask, but
shoot, man.
Like, for example, you touched on the kind of conductor of the crowd and everyone being in the moment. I remember my times when I was in Ibiza or when we was at university in Sheffield. We always used to seek out DJs. Who did we see? We had a place called Tank in Sheffield. Don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's not like
never.
I think back now, and the stuff we were doing in there in terms of like, oh god, the shuffling days and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, having the flashbacks right now. I can see it. Big flashbacks right now, man.
It was that kind of music. Oh my god, I'm going red. I can see. But to be honest, I kind of embraced their moments, and they were so fun, and I enjoyed it. I can't remember like. I don't know if this is poor taste or not, but it was like Patrick Toppin, Seth Troxler, Annie Mac, like all these kind of DJs. When my friends actually started DJing, they had a group called it Decibel, and it was DJ TK and DJ Maltz, two of my friends, Tom Kerr and Tyro Moulton. And they would actually get other DJs in to come and DJ with them. So I think they had like Matrix Man, Ejeka and stuff like that. So that's the kind of hard house techno kind of music that we were into and we really enjoyed. And I remember when I was at uni, being in the moment and when the DJ really understood it and knew what songs to play, which ones to hold back, sometimes tease them in, but then take them out and not play them till 3 tracks later. And you're like, oh, how did they do that? But you got the anticipation notes coming, and when it finally comes out, it's just like euphoria everywhere. But I remember looking at Instagram the other day, and there was a show, and I can't remember what it was, but all the comments were, oh my God, look at the sea of phones. And I feel like when I was in Ibiza in some of these early Sheffield days, that wasn't such a thing. Like, everyone still just enjoyed it, was dancing. Maybe like the odd time you get the camera out just to, video friends, whatever. Now it just seems like maybe it's just the big events, like the huge, crazy, Calvin Harris on stage. You're like, oh my God, I'm seeing Calvin Harris, like, video him. What's your perspective on that? Like, people being actually immersed and present in it. It seems sometimes now when you see the big clips, the big events like Ushuaia and all this kind of stuff, that it's just a sea of phones. Even like Glastonbury and stuff like that, it is just people seemingly, I don't know, trying to capture a moment rather than being in it.
I generally think it's just a reflection of where we are in society, and more so youth culture. I think we live now in a culture where if you weren't there, it didn't really happen, which then means you're social first. And then in a way, there's almost like this programming to capture the moment so you can show that you were there.
Yeah.
Rather than actually being in it. Right. And there's still small pockets where it exists that people do just go out to enjoy music and enjoy like being in the same space with a bunch of people, listening to music you love.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think right now there is a massive emphasis on like building your social currency. And by being one of those people that is like perceived as, oh, you was in Ibiza now, and then you was in Mykonos, and then you saw Black Coffee here, and you are the person to follow. There's like this social currency that comes with that, and I think that's why that exists.
I did see one interesting comment where I think someone had said, and I don't know why it caught my eye, maybe because it was a massive paragraph, but I think someone was saying along the lines of, I can't believe all the comments in this thread are saying that it's disgusting to see the sea of phones or something like that, like blah, blah, blah. But one person popped out and said like, oh, my mum was similar to me at my age, used to love going to events, and now at her age doesn't remember most of them. And she wishes she had a phone to capture their moments, because sometimes, I mean, no one's really stood there for an hour recording, are they? Like, it is when a drop's come in or a transition, or there's going to be some flipping visuals going off or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or just the whole crowd's going crazy and you want to pan it around and capture that moment. So so they did kind of say like their mum was jealous because now our generation can go back and relive that moment, and somehow it kind of floods all their memories back. Whereas her mum was saying it's hard for her to kind of lock into what was actually happening, and the memory is somewhat maybe like false in a way, and I don't know, in terms of like, I imagine when you're going back to the church days and being in the room with your uncle or doing DJing at these events, I imagine there's not much footage of that, is there, potentially? So when you recollect that, is that pure just nostalgia memory? And how do you transfer that to what you're doing today? Because I'm not, your Instagram, like the little snippets that you put out, what's that kind of segment that you do? Is it like travel segment or something, like where you like suitcase? Is it suitcase or something?
Like a suitcase.
So that's like you capturing the moment of where you're going, and I find that was really cool to watch, and that will, I guess, help you again in the future go back and just remember and relive that moment. But does it put a bad taste in your mouth when you see it, when you see like the phones all whip out at one moment, or do you kind of think, again, social currency wise, like, oh, maybe I'm doing my job right here because everyone's getting it out to record, I'm doing something good? It's like it's a barometer for how good you're DJing.
I think the point around the mum not being able to recollect memories on site is like, it's a great point. Because when you were saying that, I was kind of like, well, you kind of just, you're not going to change
Yeah.
how these people behave. So you're better off just giving them a moment worth filming. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as a DJ, it's like, cool, that means you go, you double down on your production, you double down on your transitions, and you create something that is worth documenting in a way, right? And then to your second point, when like now, right, I'm on the back end of touring. Like Tom's just come back from Zimbabwe, and we was just chatting this morning. I'm like, bro, I can't lie, I have never felt this shattered after a season of touring, which is usually for me is like the back end of April to August. And yeah, I feel shattered. And in these are the moments where it could just be like, yeah, this is all long, I don't know if I can do all of this. Or how do I top this next year? Like, how do I elevate past where I'm at right now, right? And it's easy to then slip into this thing of, what am I doing? How am I going to do this next? I'm getting to 30, I need kids, or I need a house, or this or that. And then I go and look, and this is what I do, to be fair. I go back and I look at like my Instagram and my story, like things, and I think about how far I've actually come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think about how far I've actually come and what it has taken to get to this point. And, there's this, well, obviously me being a Christian is like, there's this saying and belief. It's like, God hasn't brought you this far just to bring you this far. And when I go through those moments and I look through like how long, not even how long, but how far we've come in this short space of time, I then think, all right, cool, I haven't come this far just to get this far. So take a rest, take some time to breathe, and then we go again. And like, sometimes, not even sometimes, I think a lot of this has been blind faith, bro, because if I'm being honest, like, in the world that we live in now, with it being so much about social currency, vanity metrics, like, I don't have a lot of that, but I've torn just as much as somebody who has 300,000 followers has, right? Or the revenue can equate, or some of the revenue we've done, like, it shouldn't equate to what we do or what we have online. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But a lot of it has been based off the fact of blind faith, belief in that we can do the things we want to do. And I think, I think seeing is believing. So for me, like, I really do feel like you can do things by design, you can live by design, right? And it's like we made a plan. Like, when I approached Marley to be my manager, I approached him with like a 20 slide deck. I was like, right, this is what we're going to do over these 18 months. And we did it. And even going through that process once gives me faith to know that, all right, cool, whatever we want to do in the next 18 months, as long as we sit here and we plan it and we say, right, cool, this is where I'd like to go, we're going to head in that direction. Right? And to be fair, what is amazing about that is sometimes you surpass yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you set yourself up in a direction, and let's say you're aiming for, I want to keep it, you're aiming for the moon, but you might end up on Jupiter, or like, do you know what I mean? Just because you can't ever underestimate the power of momentum. Like, to build momentum is really difficult, right? And it takes a lot of energy. But when you're in momentum, when you're in a flow state, new opportunities arise that you could never even considered, or you could never imagine would have come to your table. So going back to your point in and around like documenting things, it's really important to be able to see, where you were, how far you've come from, to see a moment. And then also, like, it's nice to share it. Do you know what I mean? True. It is nice to share it.
That is what social media was made for, wasn't it? It was to share moments, to share experiences and allow other people to peer into your world basically and connect. We've talked about it in other episodes, like it can seem a little, maybe with everything, it's in moderation, isn't it? You've got to use it in moderation. Sometimes people can be too far with it. Obviously some people don't interact at all. You could say there's positives and benefits to that, but yeah, I am in the same probably wavelength as you. Is like there is ways to utilize it. There is, benefits to it,
For
and
sure.
so long as they're used healthily and as intended, then I see no issue in this new world, new generation. And there's also that level of, not saying that 30 or going on 30, like I'm 30 years old, is old, but there's always this level of the generation above judges the generation below and say, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, I shouldn't have played World of Warcraft for 5 hours a night on my laptop, etc. But I enjoyed it. And then now I'm like judging someone who's 18, like on Snapchat, trying to Snapchat 50% of anything they're doing.
That's it.
It's just, I guess it's how the world changed, the way the world evolves. You touched on there, and it's kind of something that I also wanted to dig into, because you talk about your faith, and this live in life, or look at life by design. Can you explain to me what you mean by that, and how your faith plays a part in your journey, and also the path to the future? I'm not a person of faith. I would say that I actually used to be a bit atheistic, but as I've grown older, I've actually become way more agnostic.
Okay.
I don't
That's
have
cool,
any
man.
set faith. I do actually take pinches from everything. And like most things in the UK, once you in school, you have religious studies, you're not really, mine wasn't any kind of like Catholic school or anything like that. So it wasn't mandatory in a sense to read or anything like that. But when I was in primary school, we had like assemblies, and we'd sing certain hymns and all this kind of stuff. So always had this exposure. I mean, the baseline in the UK is seen as like Christianity, isn't it? So I've always had faith present, but I've never really dug into it. So it's something, whilst I've got someone on that I can talk to and explore that with, I'd be really interested to know what you mean by this look at life by design, and how that plays a part into your journey.
Yeah, for sure, man. So to your point previously, right, around social media and and not actually necessarily being a bad thing based on what it was designed to do, it comes down to obviously the individual's intention, right?
Yeah.
So whatever your intention is what you'll then put into the rest of the world, right? And I think when you look at intention, like intention comes from what is it you desire to do, or what is it you desire to achieve, right? So for me, it's quite simple, right? Like, we all live together. We have this ecosystem that enables us to function and breathe, and right. There's no way this could have happened without it being designed. Like, it's, do you know what I mean? So I look at that and I say, right, how can I reflect an element of this in my own life? Like, I want to get to X. I want to achieve X. I have to set an intention and then put a process or design process in place to achieve that.
Yeah.
My faith in God comes from, and if we're talking about this specifically, like, if I believe that this ecosystem has been designed, it's been designed by someone or something, you know what I mean, that knows better than I do, because like, all of this coexists. And when I say all of this, I'm looking out my window with like loads of nature outside. So for me, I look at it as like, God is the biggest creator, you know what I mean? He's the original creator. And so even if I could reflect an ounce of that in my life and set intentions that are good for not just my friends and family, but for the world, then my intentions and the things that I pursue to do should then be a reflection of that, which then means you can live life by design, because you then think about, what is it I want to achieve? What is it that my heart and soul is telling me I need to give to the world? And then you put steps in place like a designer would, or like a creative team would, to then go and achieve those things.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
So again, I'm other than religious studies at school, my
Mm,
knowledge of religion is I'm very ignorant on it.
mm.
So you're saying that there's an intentionality and the faith, there's extended faith that you hope, so long as you're doing it with the best intentions, there's this kind is are you the captain of your ship, but then there's this otherworldly kind of creator power that will, so long as you're going down the right line, will imbue you and hopefully put opportunities in front of you because you are living life the true way for you and you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, people use the word manifesting, but like you're using the word intentional. You're kind of bringing that to you and through you, and living by your own truth, but also the truth of your religion and faith at the same time.
Yeah, man. And you know what, bro? Like, I really struggled with this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's even the misconception around being Christian. It's like you're Christian and you never struggle no more. Like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the reality. We're still human. Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, like, I struggled with this because I knew the world of music, there is really dark elements to it. There's a really dark side and really corrupted, right?
Yeah.
And the thing I worried about was like going into this space and obviously being consumed by it, or being consumed by music in itself. And you know what I mean? Because that can happen, and we've seen it happen a multitude of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what allowed me to like now come out and like have the confidence to go and do this is, if I didn't have the talent, like if I weren't meant to be doing this, I wouldn't have the talent to do it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So that right there is a gift that I've been given. And really, if you've got a talent or a gift and you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So that was one, right? Two, in regards to, you know, being a captain of my own ship, it was understanding, right, cool, if I've got these talents and this ability to not only just play music, but to bring people together,
Mm-hmm.
then how can I use that to, in a sense, like bring light to the world?
Yeah.
Because really I feel like that's what we're here to do. The Bible
Mm-hmm.
talks about being like we are here to be reflection of God and obviously bring light to others, right? And so if I can do that to bring light to others, to inspire others,
Mm-hmm.
then great. And look at it right now, like I'm on a platform with you. We've never met each other in the flesh, but we're now sitting here talking about God. And it's not in a way of being pressured, or I'm not Bible bashing you, bro, or
No,
you know what I'm
no.
saying? It's not that.
Yeah.
It's just me just sharing my experiences. And for someone listening, they might listen and think, right, this guy's chatting a whole load of waffle. And for somebody else, it might be a thing of, right, I never thought about it like that. So
and
either
resonate
way,
with you,
you get what I'm saying? Either way, me being a DJ, even though I guess it's not always got the best associations, like being a DJ. Like there's a lot of like things that come along with that, right? But here you are now listening to someone who claims he's a DJ, but it's like about God. Like it's an imperfect perfect storm again. Because the thing I learned in the Bible was like, when you look at a lot of the characters from the Bible, they weren't the perfect picks. They weren't the people that were perfect or were already serving God in the best way. Like God has this thing of choosing people who are, you know, sinners who have made some really bad decisions, but then also then helping them go through a process that then brings more glory and more light to the rest of the world and to him. So that was the thing for me that gave me true conviction that I can go and do this, because there's so many examples in the Bible of people who struggled with faith, who didn't even believe in God, but was able to like deliver a whole bunch of other people. And here we are right now talking about like the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I've got I watched a film. I don't know if you've watched it yourself. I only watched it whilst I was on a plane, and I kind of want to watch it again because I found it very interesting. I don't know if you've heard or seen the film Conclave.
No, I haven't.
It's about, I think it's about a pope passing, and then, you know, they're looking to do that what would you say, nomination process.
This
But
came up in general zeitgeist when the Pope recently died, didn't it?
I'm not sure. But
Yeah, because I feel like I've heard it mentioned, and this when you've mentioned it now, yeah, it
there
rings a
was
bell.
there was
Sorry.
there was a quote in that film that
Mm,
really resonated with me.
mm,
And I don't know, when you're talking about being the captain of your ship, but also having this faith and kind of trying to plot a direction, but maybe not always knowing if it's 100% going to happen or turn out that way. Again, sometimes you can surpass yourself from what you planned, and then also sometimes you can fall short. So the quote that he says is that certainty is the great enemy of unity. Certainty is the deadly enemy of tolerance. Even Christ was not certain at the end. My God, why have you forsaken me? Christ says. He cried out in his agony on the 9th hour on the cross. Our faith is a living thing precisely because it walks hand in hand with doubt. If there was only certainty and if there was no doubt, then there would be no mystery and therefore no need for faith.
Facts.
So you don't have any certainty on your journey. You try to have intention. You try to plot a path of where you would like to go and have a North Star.
That's it.
And is it the faith that combats that doubt, is it the faith that kind of helps you push through them certain moments where there is doubt or imposter syndrome or just feeling maybe lost, etc.? Like you said earlier, when sometimes you can look back and be like, oh my God, how do I top this next year and all that kind of thing. Is that the kind of thing that faith interplays for you in your journey?
Yeah, because it means I can walk into the unknown with confidence that things will work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we talk about getting to 30, right? When you are older and you know better, you do better. And I think it's the same thing with faith. When you've had a couple rounds of like going through, whether it's like harder situations, and you come through another side. Like there's this funny thing my friend says to me, like whenever we talk about something that's been a bit difficult, it's like, but did you die? Like you're here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But did you die? No, which means you can get up and do it again. And the uncle that I mentioned prior in this interview earlier today, he's actually passed away now, and he was a massive part of my childhood in regards to like encouraging me to pursue music, right? Like he gave me my first bass guitar, and the weekend that he passed away, I had actually gone to Amsterdam, and I'd seen him before I had gone to Amsterdam, and it's so strange because it's almost like he knew he was gonna go. So the last couple of words he had said to me was like, without as long as there is life, there is hope. And then he was like, go into the whole world and take music with you. And I'll never forget that. Do you know what I mean? I'll never forget it. And I think that's the thing. It's like, as long as you can wake up tomorrow, you've got a fighting chance to like either turn your situation around, achieve your dreams, or make something of yourself, or just do the thing you say you want to do. And waking up tomorrow is not certain. Like me and you could go to bed, either one of us. I don't say that to be dark, but
touch some wood.
It is, yeah, but it is the reality for so many people, right? And you know what I mean, especially now where cancer's like 2 in 1. I feel like it's got really like went to a whole nother place. But I'm just saying, right? There's nothing is not. My point is nothing is promised in this life.
No, I agree. So your uncle, I don't know if it's the same uncles or you've got 1, 2, 3 or whatever, or different ones, but clearly this uncle was an influential person in your life and in your journey. Have you got any other influential people that you could kind of, that either were just fleeting and came in but had this kind of really impactful action on your life or interaction with you is, it can be in your network or idols that you might have and kind of play off and watch and live by, in a sense. Who are some of the influential people of them? Maybe God and
Yeah.
and your uncle.
I mean, it's very family and friends, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many. Like my uncle Nunu, he was like, you know, yeah, man, he means a lot to me, and even thinking about him now, it's bringing like, yeah, yeah, it's good memories, and obviously he's not here anymore. But
Mm.
there's so many people. Like my family are all people of like we all believe in God, right?
Yeah.
And so I can say them as a whole, as a unit.
Yeah.
Sure, right? And it's interesting. Like I grew up in a church where like it was literally half African, half Caribbean. So I grew up not being, but like I grew up with like Jamaican grandparents. Do you know what I mean? And so I could say, Reverend Sterling, Pastor Sterling, these people like have been trees or like pillars in my life. And I think that's what it is. Like when I look at where I am today, like it's taken so many people. I have a bit of an irk when someone says they've done everything on their own, or like they've achieved everything on their own. It's because it's like it's not that. And I can never sit here and say I am who I am because I did it all on my own. Nah.
No.
There's so many people that poured life and poured lessons and poured energy into me that gives me confidence to be who I am today. That gives me like conviction that things will always be okay, because these are the same people you turn to when things get tough, right? And have shown me how to deal with life when things get tough. And it also allows me not to inflate my own perception of myself, because being a DJ, it's like you go somewhere, you've got 5,000 people in the palm of your hand. Again, there's nothing that can replicate that, right?
No.
And so coming back, spending time with friends and family, not only is it important in regards to like building faith in you and like being a part of why I have the faith I do, but it also is a reminder that like there's real life still going on. That like real life is still happening, and I'm not gonna lie, I need that reminder from time to time, because we get so caught up in, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to X, Y, and Z, I'm trying to, and I had 10 weeks of therapy at the start of summer, and I think in like the third week he was like, yeah, Q, you might be trying to do too much. Like you kind of need to take a second to appreciate, like where you come from, what you've done, and the fact that you have a family unit that's around you. Like there's this, it's this this like two-way street of like being really ambitious.
Yeah.
Right. And trying to achieve X, Y, and Z. And in the pursuit of that, cool, like, great, go for your dreams. But don't forget that, like, one, real life exists, and two, that, like, there are people in and around you that think you're doing just fine, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's where I totally resonate with that sentiment. Not only just with, like, work-related things, but sometimes even with just life, like you said earlier, you never know when you might wake up, but not only just that, like for yourself, but someone else. So a lot of the times when I'm presented with an opportunity to whether see friends or go to an event or spend time with family, even though for me, my life's going 110 miles an hour, I always think that in the back of my mind, like realistically, I should probably take a break now and have a weekend to just kind of let the steam go off and recharge the batteries. But then I have that little voice in the back of my head that goes, yeah, but this is an opportunity to see someone. Do you want to mess that up? This person, you never know, what could happen tomorrow. Take every opportunity you can and kind of latch onto it. and there's that yin and yang, that balance between knowing when to really take a step back before you get to true burnout and really wreck yourself in with work. Like, I'm a bit of a yes man when it comes to work. Like, if people ask something of me, I'm like, yeah, I can fix that. I can solve that problem. I'll do it for you. I love to help. I love to problem solve. And I do go through cycles of, I pile so much on myself. Some reasons because I thrive. I like to say or kid myself that I thrive on stress and pressure. I think some people, quite a lot of maybe successful people, are also like that. Like, it switches them on for some reason, being under this level of pressure. But I've a couple of times cyclically, I just then pop. And I'm like, crap, I went far too far. I was on the red line for too long. The engine is smoking now. I need to retire, write myself off for a little bit and have some me time or close family or close friend time, and just kind of slow it down a bit. But then, not long until I'm like, crap, now I'm missing out on stuff. I want to go. I don't want to miss any opportunities.
I 100% relate, bro. Bro, I get it. Yeah. Because it's constant, and especially when you have big dreams or you want to do something, there's every day counts, innit? But one, the reality is you can't do anything without proper rest anyways. That's
exactly. Yeah.
And again, getting older, you learn that. But two, and do you know what? I look at my manager, Marley, and he does this really well, bro. Like, he has a great balance of, like, I'm going to work diligently and I'm going to work hard, right? But I'm not going to overexert myself or put myself in a space that makes me feel like I don't have enough energy to go tomorrow. Yeah. And one of the things that I've learned from him in a way is that you have to attract opportunities. There's a way of, like, when we're young, it's like, you're young, you got energy, you need to go out into the world, try and explore, get in people's faces, connect with X, Y, and Z. And then now you ain't got all the same energy to be running up and down, right? So I'm learning it's like you need to build more of what you're doing in the space that you're in that then attracts more to like
be more like a magnet kind of things. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because then it's like you're doing things from a place of confidence, and rather than trying to be everything to everyone, it's like you're being who you would like to be. Yeah. But then you're also now bringing people into your space. You know what I'm saying? So then also comes with opportunities too.
It's interesting how I feel like, I don't know if it is just at this age where that starts to happen, as we've kind of done that, late teens to early 20s. I guess it is just the cycle of life, is that suddenly if you do a thing for long enough, you start to build that confidence in it. You start to hopefully can follow a path, if you're lucky enough, if you're privileged enough, follow a path that's true to you and authentic to you, that you can have a passion about. And like you say, kind of you get this level of energy that kind of drags people into your orbit, the right kind of people. And I like it. It's one premise of this show is to I'm going to speak to lots of people, and I'm hopefully going to connect with the right ones, and they're going to come into my orbit, and we'll see, not transactionally, but like see how I can help you, you can help me, and just connect more people. Like Tom's a master connector. Like he is the man. He's on a mad thing.
He is the man. But he also does what I've just spoken about. He also exudes a lot of that as well. Like, he has gotten to the point where, like, he is recognized for being one of the guys, especially in London, in regards to photography. And when we even speak about, what we want to do next and this and that, it's like he has this, like, such a calmness around what he wants to do next. And it's this quiet confidence. And I've told him about it. Like, he has this quiet confidence that, whatever it is next, I just want to do more of what I like. I don't want to have to keep going into other people's spaces, or, in a sense, doing things for the exchange of money. I want to now just do the things I want to do. And there is a part of you that has to battle with you and shed old skin to say, we're no longer doing this no more. This is not our way of doing things. We're now going to do things like this. There's like an internal, like, agreement that needs to happen.
It's like a phoenix, isn't it? The phoenix sometimes has to die to be reborn, and there's certain parts of you, like you said, you've got to shed, you've got to kill, certain ways of thinking, certain logical processes that you think like, no, I've got to get that out now. This is the new intention, the new path I've got to take. So yeah, it's cool. When you talk about community, and this is, I always like to do this in the show, because one of the premises of the show is also this idea of connection, this idea of networks, people interactions.
Yeah.
AI is posing a threat. I don't know how interested or knowledgeable you are about artificial intelligence, but I'd love to know if you have any thoughts on, I guess there's 3 different areas I could ask questions here: how it's going to impact DJing, or how it's going to impact faith, and how it might just is it something that you like, artificial intelligence? Do you think it's going to be something like a social media or the next level, but times 10, where it could help people interact more, but also if people use it the wrong way, they're going to completely isolate themselves? I think it'd be really, DJing maybe is like an easy one to understand. Like, we already have AI or algorithm DJs. You can get them on Spotify kind of thing, can't you now? And they look at what you like and they start to do it. So I guess maybe we touch on that quickly, like what implications and impact does that have? Because when I talked to Tom and Wraith, really, they were still saying that there still is a human element to it. Like, you being at the crowd, with the crowd, you are that composer. You can see what is working and what's not. Technically, you could get an AI that's got cameras and got facial recognition and body language, and it could maybe like, oh, this song's not working, let's play the next song. I've even seen some silly stuff where I've seen people like DJing on like on a reel or a TikTok, and they're chat GPT and right, what would hit right now in terms of the next song? I've just played this, and they're kind of, would I say cheating or enhancing? I don't know, but like they're utilizing these forms to bring it into the DJ world. How do you see it? Because obviously you are a touring DJ. You go out there, you actually sit in events, and you play music to crowds. Stuff like maybe when it was the COVID pandemic and you were kind of live streaming it, I could see AI being a huge threat there, because it's just on visual on a platform, but in person I don't think you can replace that. What are your thoughts when it comes to DJing? And then I'd love to dip into faith as well.
I think AI is super complex, isn't it? Like, I don't think there's any one answer, and I think there's so many factors that affect it. So I don't want to seem politically correct at all. I just think with AI, it's what you make of it, and again, it comes down to your intentions. And some DJs have said, right, cool, I'm going to use this to be my little helper. What used to be a record crate is now AI. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Where it's like you've gone through the process of curating. I can say for an Afro House mix, which is an hour long, it usually tends to be around 14 to like 17 tracks, right? So you can now say to AI, what's the 14 to 17 tracks that are all in the same key, have this you know what I mean, all at this BPM and has X, Y, and Z. It comes down to how you use it, right? But then are you then the person that's got the credentials and the technical ability to mix it in a way that makes it interesting? Because you could then just put that into a playlist, and then someone could just go and listen to that on that Spotify. But what is the thing that then causes an individual to actually seek you to listen to how you do things? That's the human touch that Tom and Rafe are talking about. I think with the introduction of AI, I think there's a massive way for creators to win in this economy. The creator economy has been growing year on year for the last 5 years, like rapidly. So I think as a creator, because that's the remit that DJing is, I see AI there being a massive opportunity. The next layer of it is it's going to cause a lot of people not have to technically do the jobs we've had to do for a long time, which means people will eventually have more time. I think the important thing around that is like, we're gonna need to have to then spend more time together.
Yeah.
So obviously going and being an individual as a DJ, I can now also see how my role is going to change into being a curator of spaces that people can come and spend time together.
Yeah.
Because human touch, human interaction is actually going to become more valuable, just as much as like a sculpture would now, because someone's actually spent more time doing it. Especially if people are invested in the actual human being. And I think that's what it is with DJing, man. I think the DJs who are doing really well now are those who are transitioning into building out, this is who I am behind the music, right? This is me as a human being. This human element is so much more important now. Like, and everyone talks about it being personal brands, but in reality, someone's just showing you who they are as a human and it's giving you a perspective of that, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're watching, and this is where it gets really interesting. I feel like the KPIs that people have looked at for a long time as being super important would be like reach, right? Reach. When we're talking about advertising or whatnot in this space of as a creator, it's always been like reach or engagement. I think the one that we should be looking at now is like the amount of time people spend with a creator. So like the lifetime people spend,
like,
because think about it now,
loyalty,
right?
Like interest and connection
like,
to a certain like.
There you go.
Like I love Daft Punk. Like I will, even if they brought a tune out tomorrow, I'd love Daft Punk because French electronic music. Don't know why I love it. I remember in your represent when you represent mixers, you started playing what's it called? Love Music Sounds Better With You by Stardust, and you'd mixed it into another tune, and I was like, I love this. This is my kind of music. So I guess there is that level of loyalty, and just like people change, sometimes you can fall out of love, I guess, with a certain DJ or artist. And again, it is just a connection to another person's creativity and arts and personality, isn't it, at the end of the day? And AI does, you kind of said, like, I guess DJs could technically flood into the market more because that barrier to entry is now reduced because people can start to, like you say, have a little co-pilot on how to what songs I could do, ordering and da. But still there's going to be you that have done it for a long time and can imbue the music with a certain different pizzazz that someone who just comes in with an AI straight away. And
just to add to your point before you continue, right? When I look at all of the DJs that I admire who have built careers that are long lasting and till the point that they are 60, they will be able to play in front of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
The reason they can do that is because they've allowed things to happen over a period of time. Like I think right now, and I look at these guys like a Carl Cox, a Diplo, Calvin Harris, even a Daft Punk, Black Coffee. All these guys are all over 40. 60 years old. So it gives me this quiet confidence. It's like I know for a fact. My intention is to be here playing music when I'm 55. And it's not going to be in the same places for sure. No. But would that be in front of 50, 60, 80,000 people? Maybe. I hope so. Right. But to do that and to be at that point, a lot of these people it's taken them 30 years, 40 years. Do you know what I mean? I think it like if your intention is to come and be a DJ, blow up, get 100,000 followers, and then have this AI co-pilot to get you to X, Y, Z point, mate, fair dues, right?
Yeah.
But you can't build community or connection with people by being a flash in the pan. And when I look at the people who have been here for a long time, it's like they've been able to build massive followings, massive communities, are able to charge incredibly high fees because they've gone and done the work. They met people in real life. You can't take away from that. And I think even now, when I look at things in real life, right, I've talked about vanity metrics before. Like, we don't have massive following, but we have a great connection with the people who, in a sense, gatekeep across Europe, because we was there in their faces and met, and we went to dinner with them and we talked about them and they told us about their lives. You can't replicate that. AI
No.
can't replicate that. So and that has then also presented new opportunities that wouldn't come from just being online. And it's funny because I look at things and I'm very excited because I'm like, we've done all of this and we haven't really even turbocharged the online element of this. Like, what happens when we've done all of this and then we supercharge what we're doing online as well? That gives me a lot of excitement personally, because I know I've done the work. I've built the library. I've understood the music across multiple regions. You can go and ask AI what are the top 50 songs in Paris for the Black underground scene, but you don't know what it means if you ain't been there and see what it does to a crowd. You just don't. and people will feel that when you go to different places. So for me, I see AI as I see it as an enabler because I use it. I'm like straight up. I use ChatGPT all the time. And I use ChatGPT from I think I think and look at things quite strategically. I use it as like a strategic co-pilot in that sense. Like, how do I go about doing X, Y, and Z way, and then looking at all the different considerations. But if we're talking about, so yeah, that's exciting. The last thing you said was faith, or the second thing you said was faith. I think AI and faith, I don't see them really mixing. It's like AI is meant to be this, it's meant, essentially a lot of people seeing it as having all the answers, don't they?
Yeah.
But again, it's like, we're human beings. Like, I feel like people forget, like, we are human beings. We are flawed. We make a lot of mistakes. We don't have all the answers in real life. You can ask AI a bunch of questions. Will you actually go through with the actions? I'm not sure about that, you know? So I think there's always going to be a requirement for faith because we're human beings. And history has showed me that human beings, we tend to mess up a lot.
We do. I mean, that is,
you know what I mean?
a lot
like,
of the teaching of faith, isn't it? Is in terms of you've got to embrace, like, you've got to have that humility to be able to forgive, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. If something goes the wrong way, you can either forgive someone or forgive yourself in a way. It's interesting because as a person not of faith myself, I know when we see that, you know, could these AIs and these chatbots, they absorb text of the internet, they absorb, you know, could there be a day where, you know, I'm sure there's different versions over time of various different religious scripts and texts, you know, can people have their own, some way, their own individual version of their faith and the scriptures and the readings that they want to do? And I feel like that defeats the point, potentially, maybe, I don't know. Like, but
it's just to interrupt you there, that already exists, bro. That's the reason why there's cults in the world today, and this was all happening before AI, bro. So that's what I'm saying. It's like humans are gonna do what humans do, bro. True. Whether there's AI or not, you know. And again, it's like, what is your intention and what is your programming based on? Like, if you, and this is the thing, it's like, if you have faith in human beings, then you should expect human beings to let you down. Where, you know what I mean, like, that is, I think that should answer a lot of how I see AI as like a general remit.
So would you say more on the side of optimistic for the future for it, and hope and have faith in humanity that we take it down the right path, not the wrong path?
It's a good question, bro.
I always want to be an optimist about it. I want to, if it goes away and we've got robots, you know, doing the graft, so it means that we've got more time to pursue our authentic, you know, truth or whatever, or whether you're creative or science-based or math or whatever, you can finally have time to go and chase what you enjoy, whether it's spending time with people, giving people experiences. My optimistic is that AI does that. That's the utopia that it brings, is that it just gives us more free time. But yeah, I know it's because it's such a powerful tool, it can potentially have massive negative consequences. But I guess we have to breathe optimisticness, optimism into the world, so that hopefully it does resonate outwards in ripples.
Yeah, I do you know what, with it now, it's like, to my point earlier, like humans are going to be humans, right? And like before AI, there was a mobile phone. There was a telephone, and then there was a mobile phone, and then there was social media, and every point these things got introduced, there was always a massive group of people who were super suspicious about it, and denounced it in so many ways. And then it became part of reality and the normal life. And now your grandma's on FaceTime. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's real life. And this is what I'm saying, bro. I think I look at it because I think as a human being, and I guess as someone who loves marketing and whatnot, I just feel like I spot patterns in it, and I can just see that it's just humans repeating behavior. The pattern of behavior is exactly the same. There's a massive group of people who are outraged by it, and they think it's the worst thing to happen to the next generation. And there's a group of people who love it, who want to embrace it, who want to use it to do everything. And then there's people in the middle who have no idea what to do with it, what to think about it, but will then eventually, once it becomes the norm, will then follow and just get on board.
Adopt. I find that funny, the grandma comment, because I find it funny today. Even like my grandma will ring me on like Facebook Messenger, and every time she goes, "Hi Kyle, it's your grandma," and I'm like, I know, because it says grandma on my screen.
That's like, what I'm saying.
Where are we going to be at when we're that age and being like, oh my god, like what? How far are we going to be different from the younger generations at some point? Because I feel like I use AI great, like for what I need, but I know we're going to get left in the dust at some point. Either our brains ain't going to be able to keep up with it or something. So, but that's the future to come. Now, I'd like to kind of draw this to a close. I think it's been really interesting, Quincy, to talk about your journey, talk about your faith, to talk about DJing. I would be remiss without touching on just one point. I remember when I followed you on Instagram, maybe this could be the leaving thing. Definitely. What was it like meeting and dancing with Busta Rhymes?
Yo, Busta, he's cool, bro. He's a cool guy, man.
Yeah. What was that all about? Was that just was he meant to be there? Did he just turn up? Like I just logged on one night and I was like, oh my god, Quincy, aka MASTAQUE, is like doing a jig and a jive with. With
it was
Busta
the
Rhymes.
most random night, and I feel like I was shattered that night as well. Yeah. And I've got to the club now. It's Tape in Mayfair. I got there now, and the host is like, yo, Busta Rhymes is coming tonight. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm DJing, everything's going well. Busta Rhymes comes in. This guy's got the biggest chain on earth, yeah? Massive chain, massive jewelry, but he's just the most polite, nice person. Like, came in, he's showing everybody love. He's like, I think he had a bottle of, I don't know what he was drinking. He's giving everybody shots. He's like, this is our party. We're in this together. Then this guy jumps on the mic. he performs. What's the song with Chris Brown?
Look at Me Now.
Yeah, Look at Me Now. He does it live in the flesh. I'm like, this is mad. And this is like a couple inches from I'm thinking, this is crazy. Does 2 more performances. And then I was able to sit in the studio with him after. I think that was the bigger thing for me, right? That's the thing that didn't make it to social media.
Oh,
so there's a music studio in the club, and
that's cool.
He was gonna record something, and I was sitting there thinking, yo, like, I'm actually in the studio with an icon. Like, this is insane. And in the same manner, we're sitting here and we're speaking about life. Incredible stories, like mad stories. And then even then, like, me and Busta started talking about God and faith in the same way me and you are doing it right now. It's like he's saying he couldn't have done it without, you know, the
Yeah.
presence of God in his life. And it's like, rah, like, what does that look like for you now? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, Carl, bro. There's been so many moments like that where I'm like, I have to be doing the right thing for me to be in these rooms with these people. Because if I sit here and say the names and the people I've met and who have shaken my hand or have come and said to me, yo, like, you special. And these are like the people that, you know, like are soundtracking the globe. It's like it's those type of things that give me just a quiet conviction and confidence that like I'm exactly where I need to be, you know.
You can take that deep breath and just be like, I'm on the right path, or at least
Yeah,
I'm going in the right direction, kind of thing.
Bro, I
Yeah.
got home and I was like, yo, you just sat in a studio with Busta Rhymes for 2 hours. And it's like, I could say this, it's like, you know, the Travis Scotts, the Burna Boys, like it's a similar sentiment. Some of those didn't make it to social media, but it's like when you're in a club and you have Burna Boy rapping "Pow," like you're doing something right, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you're doing something right. So, yeah, man,
it's momentum as well, isn't it? You absorb a little bit of that aura, a little bit of that energy, and it kind of just it adds. And as long as you again be intentional about it, you're hopefully going to end up in the right place. I think that's my takeaway from today, from this conversation, Quincy, is being intentional about what you want to do and where you go. Like my younger brother right now is 18 and he has some intentions, but I don't think he fully either believes or has faith in himself. You know, he's at that age now where he's just constantly changing his mind, changing his tune. And I'm like, I just wish I could tell him, like, look, let's sit down, let's plot a path. Like, it might not always end out that way, but let's have some intention about where you want to go. And we will duck, dive, weave, and figure it out as we go along, and just have faith that we'll get there at some point. So yeah, I appreciate that message today, Quincy. I really do. I'm really glad I've got to talk to you and have this conversation. It's been eye-opening for me. Hopefully I'll make it down to London at some point. I can come see
when you're
you,
ready,
in person.
When you're ready, man.
And yeah, like as the show goes, you don't have to say right now, but definitely would love to have you refer someone else onto the show next. Any reason you like, influential, deeply personal to you, whatever, someone is just you think would be great for me to connect with in the same way that we have today. And yeah, I just have to say, really appreciate the conversation, man, and I hope we get to chat again soon.
No, for sure. Really appreciate you having me on here, man. And it's been a good convo, bro. Thank you very much.
Anything for the people that might be listening? One last takeaway.
One last takeaway. Yeah, man. Do things by design, man. Like rather than running into the world and trying to just figure it out. Like the time you spend looking at things from a bird's eye view perspective, is time always going to be well spent because you're looking at your life and like how you want to progress. And it's better you do that before you start making all the mistakes, because at least if you make the mistakes with a path in mind, it's like you can actually get back on the saddle a lot easier because you know exactly where you're trying to get to. So yeah, man, that's what I would say, bro.
Live by intention, live by design. I
love
bro.
I love it, man. Yeah, man.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening today. I will put links up to Quincy, aka MASTAQUE's work, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace. Thank you for having me, man.